Alright, guys. It is Monday, October 10th, 2022 at 8:09 p.m. Let's start with a daily verse of the day from dailyverses.net. It says, "May these words of my mouth and this meditation of my heart be pleasing in your sight, Lord, my rock and my redeemer." Psalm 19:14. Alright, guys, let's start with Russia speaking hackers knock multiple U.S. airport websites offline. No impact on operations reported. So apparently, Russian-speaking hackers got involved in multiple U.S. airport websites, and they were trying to hack it. It says more than a dozen public-facing airport websites, including those for some of the nation's largest airports, appeared inaccessible Monday morning, and Russian-speaking hackers claimed responsibility. No immediate signs of impact of actual air travel were reported, suggesting the issue may be an inconvenience for people seeking travel information. Obviously, we're tracking that, and there's no concern about operations being disrupted. Kirsch Todd, Chief of Staff of the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, said Monday at a security conference in Sea Island, Georgia. The 14 websites include one of Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. An employee there told CNN there were no operational impacts. The Los Angeles International Airport website was offline earlier, but appeared to be restored shortly before 9 a.m. Eastern. A spokesman did not immediately return any requests for comment. The hacking group known as Killnet listed multiple U.S. airports as target. It stepped up the activity to target organizations in NATO countries after Russia Federation invasion of Ukraine. These loosely organized hacktivists are politically motivated in support of the Kremlin, but ties to Moscow are unknown. The group claimed responsibility last week for knocking offline U.S. State government websites. Killnet is blamed for briefly downing U.S. Congress website in July and for cyber attacks on organizations in Lithuania after the country blocked shipment of goods to the Russian enclave of Kaliningrad in June. The type of cyber attack known by Killnet is known as a distributed denial of service, or DDoS, in which hackers flood computer services with phony web traffic to knock them offline. The DDoS attacks are favored by actors of varying sophistication because they have visible results, but these incidents are usually superficial and short-lived. John Hultquist, a vice president of Google-owned cybersecurity firm, told CNN a Transportation Security Administration spokesperson said the agency is monitoring the issue and working with airport partners. So that's what's happening with the hackers affecting airports. Let's hopefully they don't continue doing that, because who knows what else they could hack. Alright, next. Big Rail Workers Union rejects Biden back to labor deal and renews the strike possibility. Members of the Brotherhood of Maintenance of Way Employees Division rejected a labor contract with the freight railroads on Monday, sending the two sides back to the bargaining table and resettling the countdown to a potential work stoppage for the trains. So heads up, guys, I'll leave you guys a link to this article so you guys can check out more information on the possible train strikes. Okay, so it keeps happening almost every month now. They say there's going to be a strike, the government intervenes, and then nothing happens. And then the strikers say, we're not happy, the government intervenes, and then nothing happens. So let's see what happens this time. Alright. Biden promises Zelensky further advanced air defense systems after attacks. Immediately upon Monday's major wave of airstrikes on dozens of cities and towns across Ukraine, the Zelensky government renewed its appeal for Washington to urgently send more anti-air defense systems to help close the skies, as President Zelensky had earlier in a war set to Congress. President Biden, in a phone call, responded positively to the request, telling Zelensky the U.S. will continue providing the weapons needed, which is to include more air defenses, more likely the NASAMS anti-air defense systems, which since the summer the Pentagon has been providing. Biden expressed his condemnation of Russia's missile strikes across Ukraine, including in Kiev, and conveyed his condolences to the loved ones of those killed and injured in the senseless attack, the White House read out and a call said. Here's another article about the same topic. Biden vows air defense systems for Ukraine after missile attacks. So, U.S. President Biden pledged to Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky on Monday that the United States will provide Ukraine with advanced air systems after a devastating missile barrage from Russia. So that's what's happening with the United States and Zelensky. All right, next, the U.S. spends $290 million on anti-radiation drugs after Putin ups nuclear threats. The U.S. government has purchased a significant supply of radiation injury drugs as the Russian president threatened the U.S. of nuclear weapons. And here is an example of the anti-radiation drugs. Nplate 250, powder for solution for injection. It helps fight radiation sickness. It says it's $290 million per predicament of drug Nplate to treat acute radiation syndrome was announced by the U.S. Health and Human Services. The government confirmed it was the first purchase of the drug, manufactured by the California pharmaceutical company Amgen. The purchase of this drug comes after Vladimir Putin renewed his threat of nuclear war. In speech last month, he vowed to use all means at our disposal to protect Russia and its people. This is not a bluff, he said. The U.S. government said the procurement of Nplate was not in response to the war in Ukraine. It's funny, they're spending $290 million on possible drugs that fight radiation. They also had that warning that happened earlier during the year for New York, and they also had advertisements on buses and trains saying, in case of a radiation emergency, know the steps that you need to follow. So it is quite interesting, all these things that are happening with radiation and possible nukes. Alright, next. France energy workers on strike. Production falls 60%, causing chaos at the pump and across the country. While driving back from Spain to Switzerland, we had to travel across parts of France, and we witnessed chaos at the pumps in the southern parts of the country. We didn't know why. After searching a bit, here's a culprit. Energy workers are on strike. Again, at the best time ever. Petrol pumps have been running dry in France as striking energy workers disrupt deliveries, as frustration mounts amongst motorists, businesses, and beyond. President Emmanuel Macron has called for a calm. On Friday morning, a queue of hundreds of meters long snaked out from the petrol station in the suburbs of Paris. We've been waiting for an hour, said a motorist, whose car has already running on empty. The queue hasn't moved at all. I don't know what we're supposed to do. Another driver joined the line of vehicles trying two other stations. One of them across the street said, I got there at the same time as everyone else. These signs shows there was no petrol left, she said. Fuel shortages are hitting petrol stations across France, causing frustration and long waits for motorists, as a strike by workers at Total Engineers and EXxonMobil entered its 13th day on Sunday. So that is something that's happening in France. Strikes do, and 60% of pumps across the country, production falls 60%. That is quite bad. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Hit like and subscribe for more news, and see you guys next time. God bless you guys.